it's Lynette with Charm Grammy Crochet. How are you today? Today is Monday. My lights aren't flickering, so that's wonderful. This is not a crochet video. This is a travel video, sightseeing video, I guess. Today we went to my old Kentucky home in Bardstown. I think it's still Bardstown, Kentucky. And that was a really cool place. I went there as a kid. It does not look like I remember. I remember things a lot differently. Everything looked way bigger than what it is as an adult. I was younger than 10 when I was there as a child. They have remodeled, I guess, every so many years they remodel. New wallpaper, new carpets, but all in the style that, was of the day. Now already I forget when the day was that it was built. The kitchen area apparently was built first before the house, because while it was being built, you also have to eat. So the family that built it were the Rowans, and they lived there. It was always owned by Rowans until 1923, I think, 1922, when the last family member? No, I mean, anyway, the woman that owned it in 1922 sold it to the state, or gave it to the state, I don't know. And now it's a national park. And so it was called Federal Hill, I think was the name of the plantation. At the most, I think they had 39 enslaved people that work there. Many that work there like years and years and years. The grounds are beautiful. There's pictures. I'm not going to try to talk over them. I'm just going to play them at the end. The house has original furnishings. Some things have been donated since, like from other family members. Some not murals, just oil painting pictures of family members from the house. The original owner was a judge, and most of the furnishings there started with him, and started with, and then just stayed in the family and stayed in the house. You weren't allowed to take any pictures inside the house, so that's really sad, because it was really a beautiful place. But like I said, I remember it differently. I remember it when you walk in the front door, directly down it's a big hallway. All the ceilings are 13 feet high. Really big hallway all the way down to the other side of there's another big huge door, and that hallway with the doors open would be where they spent a great deal of time, because it would get a really nice breeze. It had they would call it the breezeway hallway. Now, as I recall, when I was a kid, it's 3 stories tall. You were never allowed on the third. Well, maybe we did go to the 3rd floor. I remember seeing a nursery, and I thought it was on the 2nd floor. And there's a nursery and a couple of bedrooms on the 2nd floor. Maybe 3 bedrooms. Gosh, now I don't even remember. And anyway, the nursery that's up there now was on the 3rd floor at one point. But they don't have any original floor plans to the house's 3rd floor. And it caught on fire at one point, struck by lightning, caught on fire. it's all brick, but they had to redo it. And so even the floors are brick, the walls are brick, and then they're covered over with, I don't know what what materials they used back then, because the walls look like, walls today. They're flat white, plasterish looking. So I don't know if they plastered over brick, but they did say that all the floors, all the walls even, are brick inside. So that house should be there for a long time. Anyway, this hallway is probably 8 feet wide. And as I recall, when I was a kid, I remember them saying that if they had a party, they would have the band on the orchestra, the musicians that would be playing, would be on the landing at the back of the hallway and would play down to the people that would dance in the hallway. Or maybe that was Washington's house that they did that. They used the hallway as a ballroom, because today the man said that it is believed that the nursery was upstairs and a ballroom, and they moved the nursery downstairs when the house caught on fire. The nursery was upstairs, and they moved it to the second floor because they had done some other changes to the building, I guess because of heating and stuff like that. So anyway, now you're not allowed to use the third floor because there's no way down. Only one exit down or something. So anyway, they're not allowed to have tourists go on the third floor. So they put the nursery on the second floor. They just changed this space a little bit and put the nursery on the second floor, giving you the representation of what the nursery was like when it was on the third floor. I think that makes sense. The house was built with no closets, and at some point its owners put in some like little, he didn't call them closets, but similar to closets, and you could hang clothes in there, but they didn't have a lot of clothing. They had, because the people just didn't back then. Even the rich people didn't have a lot of clothing. So, it was hard to come by, let's face it. Anyway, the house has like original furnishings that were donated with the house or sold, whichever. I can't remember what they said, if it was donated or sold. So you walk into this big, huge hallway and the stairway at the back end. The formal sitting room is here. That would have been the woman's sitting room, and then the study, or the husband's sitting room, library, they called it the library, was behind that. On the other side, there was the dining room, and then the bedrooms upstairs on the second floor. Of course, there's no bathroom because houses weren't built with bathrooms. So the privy, as they say, was outside in another building, and the kitchen was outside in another building, a building that held the kitchen, the smokehouse, and the stables. They were all attached but not connected, or close but not connected. I guess the wood storage area would be close to there as well, so that they could stoke the fires for smoking the meat and cooking the food. And then it would also be close for bringing it in, because all the rooms were heated with a fireplace, so all the rooms had fireplaces. So there was an outside door in the kitchen, or in the dining room, so that the servants could bring the food in from the kitchen. And then they would set it on a butler's pantry kind of buffet thing. And the formal dining room could seat 20 people. The table there opens to seat 20 people. And they have tables that are under the windows with vases and, decorative. Those tables, actually, you open up the main table and those become the ends of the dining room table, making it then large enough. But, I mean, how cool is that they would, normal dinner time, you don't have to seat 20 people. So you have a, place setting for 8 or 10 or 6 or whatever your family is, and you can break that table down and parts of it become other pieces of furniture in the room. I thought, well, that was a very clever idea. The original owner was a judge, and he had 10, I believe they said 10 kids, 9 of which survived to adulthood, including twins. And so throughout the house there are portraits of family members and, those kids as adults. And the one child that did not survive, they had a picture, a portrait, just like a sketch of that baby in the master bedroom where the mom slept. So it was very interesting. I enjoyed it very much. But like I said, it's not as I remember it as a kid. I remember some different things, or I remember things differently, and maybe they've just done some rearranging. Furniture probably has been moved as they change out curtains and bedding for seasonal changes. In the summertime, all the beds and bedrooms are dressed with lightweight linens and curtains to keep it cooler in the house. In the wintertime, they're all, that's how it would have been done in the time. Heavier curtains to keep the cold out, warmer blankets on the beds, that kind of thing. There is a man named Stephen Foster who was a songwriter. They did a lot of talk about him. He was a relative of the Rowans, and he lived a great deal of his life at my old, Federal Hill, which now is my old Kentucky home. He did write the song My Old Kentucky Home, and he wrote a lot of other songs. If you're a young person, you probably don't know any of them. Songs that I heard as growing up that I like, and I don't know if I heard them because we were in Kentucky a lot, and they're Kentucky-based songs, and he wrote a lot of his music here in Kentucky. But this is where my mom was born and raised, and so we spent, a lot of time here, vacationing, to visit family. But like Camptown Races, I think that song, Old Susanna. Gosh, now there were a couple others that I just had in my mind and they're gone. I never knew Stephen Foster wrote those songs, but there's a lot of them that they still use in like commercials and stuff. Bugs Bunny, some old Bugs Bunny cartoons. The narrator was telling us today. He didn't say which songs, but some of the old Bugs Bunny cartoons have Stephen Foster songs in them, which I thought was pretty cool. So, anyway, it was nice to see it, and I just have some outside pictures. That's all I could get. Then, some of the grounds, I think mostly, there's a carriage. I took a picture of that, I believe. We could get a picture of that. Then we went to the Civil War Museum. And so there will be a lot of pictures, and I'm going to try to add music so you don't have to just, see the pictures with no music. I'm not a real huge Civil War, any war buff. I love history about the people. The wars, I can't ever grasp it. So, I understand why the wars were fought. But I just don't get into the soldier stuff and the political stuff. I want to see how people live. So there are pictures. I did take pictures of like medical equipment. And then there's just like pictures behind glass of different soldiers' uniforms and what they had and whatever. But the doctor stuff, okay, that gets me. They used what kind of stuff to make people better. So I took some of those pictures. And then they had a little town. All the buildings in the, and there's like an overview picture, but all the buildings in the town. There's the first one. This is Bourbon Country. We're in Bardstown, Kentucky. It's Bourbon Country. The first one is where they make whiskey. So there's some, I don't know if I took any interior pictures in there. I think I did. It doesn't really show you much. It just does this little cabin looking building. But that was the whiskey making house. There's a candle and broom shop. There's a blacksmith shop. There's a woodworker's shop. There's a church. I think it was a church. And a tavern. And there's a shop with yarn stuff in it, like a loom and a spinning wheel, 2 looms and a spinning wheel. So I took some pictures of that stuff, but all the buildings are original buildings to the Bardstown, Kentucky area, and they were moved there. And so I found that really interesting. Again, like I said, I like to see how they lived. So I took pictures there, and then we were done. I was done. And we went out to dinner, and now it's here. So I just wanted to share with you my old Kentucky home, which now it's what they, I mean, I think I have a picture of a sign calling it Federal Hill, but now it's completely referred to as my old Kentucky home. And then the Civil War Museum pictures, and then the little village that was frontierish times, I guess. I think one of the buildings, I don't remember. You know, I've seen so many dates, but I think it was Civil War-ish, because that's part of the Civil War Museum, you know. So I think that was Civil War-ish kind of stuff. So anyway, I hope you enjoy. Thanks for watching. Thanks for liking, sharing, and all that stuff, because I'm not coming back at the end of the pictures. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.